Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is James, or Mr. Fury the Great, and today this is going to be the #1 Hulk guide, the only Hulk guide that you will ever need. We're going to go straight into the gameplay. Real quick, just wanted to show everyone, we are giving these tips from Grandmaster 2 currently. I played 20 hours of Hulk this season, some Magneto as well, because Hulk gets banned a lot, especially throughout Diamond. And GM, I've had a little more luck with getting Hulk, but especially throughout Diamond, you have to deal with the Banner, Storm, Wolverine bans every game, so you just kind of get used to this. All right, and we're going to start plain and simple by looking at Hulk's abilities. So the left click is just a punch, just a melee, pretty close, near Hulk's vicinity, melee attack. The right click is a ranged projectile that has infinite range. So it'll go, I say infinite range, it'll go across the trajectory of the whole map. Wherever you're aiming the right click, it'll go. So whenever if you're trying to poke supports in the back line, the right click is a good option to do that. Pretty plain and simple. The shift is a bubble. Think of it like if you were an Overwatch player, like a Zarya bubble, or if you're just a Rivals player, it's like a Magneto bubble that you can give to your allies as well. As you can see, allies that are close by, I think it's like a 5-meter range, they will get that shield as well. The E is the Exile. So this is actually what I think is Hulk's best ability to have in his base kit. And why I think that is the Exile has a lot of implications for stopping damage, for stopping enemies in their track, and then also being able to wake them up with Hulk's abilities only. It causes a lot of situations where you can go up to a high ground, see a high priority target, stun them, and then break down to another area and focus on another part of the team. This can also be good when you're fighting 2 healers. You can then exile one healer, exile one healer, go on the other one. It's very easy to do that and get away with murder in the back lines. They'll be questioning each other, asking where the heals are. You can keep them stunned for 2 seconds, but also be aware that any damage that Hulk does will wake them up. So you can keep them stunned the whole time, or you can stun them and then wake them up with like a right click or a left click. Any damage from Hulk is just going to wake them up. And Monster Hulk is plain and simple. You have the right click and the E that carry over. One thing that's important as well that I want to notice is the E, the Exile. When I turn off ability cooldowns, you'll see when I go into Monster Hulk, my cooldowns get reset. I can exile that person again. You can keep someone out of the game for like 4 seconds. You can then add insult to injury, grab them, beat their ass, you know, give them a little Loki treatment. Even better, right? So that's the bread and butter of what you want to be doing with Hulk simply. Breaking down his abilities, that's all you want to do. And then, you know, if you want to, Banner is just, let me go to Banner really quick. Sorry, let me change characters. But when you're in Banner, the only thing you really need to know is that the shift has a knockback effect. So you can knock enemies away and knock yourself away. Not at other allies, just yourself and enemies. Also, you want to try doing headshots with this because you're going to get like, I think you get like 8, maybe 9%, could be 10% ult charge for every headshot. So if you do go into Banner in the middle of a fight, aim for those headshots, get those enemies out of your face, and then you can just transform into Hulk, right? Also, some minor things you want to be looking for is just being aware that your right click also goes through enemies, right? Diving in, using your bubble, hitting up some enemies, right? But then getting enemies low, it's okay to leave someone low in the back line. Maybe if it's a support, it's alone, and then right clicking them later to get the finish. That's a great way to just add pressure and then keep on the move. Also, forgot to talk about it, but Hulk's passive, the jump here, has no cooldown, which is actually insane. You can either wait for the bar to go all the way up to get a longer jump, or you can jump anytime after it's through the red area. So just to get across the map quickly, you sometimes just want to hold spacebar and jump every time it gets out of the red. You can kind of get that timing, go in practice range, mess around for a little bit, you'll get that timing pretty easy. And then also, his other part of his passive is if you hold spacebar, you can latch onto walls. This can be really good for getting a jump onto like a flyer. So like say there's a Storm or an Iron Man, you can get a higher jump from a vantage point, like on a really high wall, especially like the Spider Zero maps where you have to escort the, and like Spider Islands where you really want to be staying on those high points and just jumping onto the enemy team. Some other things to notice as well is there is a very cool mechanic. I guess I say mechanic, but it's kind of just how the momentum is carried when you are transforming between Banner to Hulk and from Hulk to Monster Hulk. So one thing I'm always trying to do is let's say the enemy team is down in this area where I'm pinging caution. The enemy team is there. They're 40 meters away. I want to get to them. And then I can transform into Monster Hulk and you kind of slide, right? You carry that momentum. Now, when you're in Monster Hulk, I really recommend mainly going for just right clicks when you're. So one thing people will talk about when you're a Monster Hulk is talking about juggling, and I want to show that really quick. So the juggle is left clicking someone like a tank twice and then going after them, right? You'll hear that ding ding ding, the bell. That is just letting you know that you have successfully knocked someone out of the air, correct? And when you do that, you can get some really nice like half HP kills. But I think the best thing to be doing with Hulk is holding left mouse and then spamming your right click. Your right click does 125 damage per hit. It goes through enemies, and it is on such a short cooldown that it makes no sense not to spam this. Now, having a piercing range attack as someone like a tank as Hulk is insane. This gives you so much presence in a fight that you're providing pressure to the backline that they aren't even aware you can be doing. They'll be half HP and have no clue where the damage is coming from. You're popping off the right click so fast, they have no idea what to do or play against it. And even if you want to be elusive, you can actually prioritize someone in the back line, hit people in the front line, if you see what I'm doing. So by doing that, you can create a lot of pressure. And you can see I'm also, when I'm going into Monster Hulk, I'm always jumping. I'm always holding spacebar. If you learn one thing from this video, always hold spacebar. Now, why you want to do that is because when you're always holding spacebar, you are always having a jump build, correct? I'm letting off to get the jump right, letting off, holding it, right? Letting off, holding it. That's all I'm doing. Letting off, holding it. You can get some B-hops and stuff if you want, but I'll be honest, always hold spacebar, always have a jump charge, because then if you're in the back line, you're beating them up, you can bubble, jump out. It makes it super easy for you to just disrupt the enemy. And that's how you should be playing Hulk, is as a disruption tank. You are a character that has so much health that the enemies don't know what to do with it. You know, you start with Banner with 200 health, you have 800 health when you are Hulk, you have 1500 when you're Monster Hulk, almost 1600 health. So you have so much health that sometimes you're actually impossible to kill. If your team is locked in, you won't die. And that is one of the things with Hulk that I feel like a lot of people are under. The audio cut abruptly. I had some issues with my microphone, so I'm going to move this over to just a voiceover and show some gameplay from a GM2 lobby. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My Discord will be linked below, and I will also provide a link to my Twitch stream where I stream quite often. I try to stream about 3 or 4 times a week. So you can come in there, catch me anytime I'm live and ask all the questions away, or just join my Discord and ask all the questions you have as well. When looking at Hulk, though, one thing I also want to mention that I forgot to mention when I was doing the ability breakdown is the Q, the slam on the ground where you actually grab someone. That is an ability that I do not want anyone watching this video to ever press. I don't want you to press Q unless you need to survive, because it does give you a 40% damage reduction if I understand correctly. And it also is an ability that will extend your ultimate's timer. So if you ult and you have 2 seconds left and you press Q on someone, you'll actually retain that 1550 health bar for quite a while longer. And you'll see sometimes in this gameplay, if I ever go to Monster Hulk, I'm not really grabbing people unless they are close to the point, on the point, or it's close to overtime, and I'm just trying to extend that Monster Hulk health bar. One other thing as well is you'll see that I'm always looking for high priority targets. In this gameplay, I'm always jumping up looking for the Iron Man because Hulk was unbanned, so of course Iron Man's going to be in these lobbies. Just trying to jump at him, make it hard for him to play, and then also just making sure that you're looking for the correct spots when there are openings, because sometimes you do want to just beat up on the tank, be there for your front line. Don't think that your decisions have to be perfect in these games, because to be honest, nobody's perfect in these games. There's a lot of big mistakes that are made. So some parts of the gameplay, you'll notice how there's like a little bit of a cat and mouse game that happens when you're in a Hulk mirror matchup. And also, please be aware of like the type of characters that will counter Hulk. Some of the characters that I hate to play against is Mantis. Mantis Sleep is really good. Luna Snow, her Freeze is very good. Invisible Woman's Push and Pull are very good abilities. And as far as like the tank lineup, who counters Hulk the most, I'm most scared of like a Penny Parker. Penny Parker really can destroy Hulk's game plan because you have to get up and destroy those mines, but you're a melee character. You don't have a lot of freedom in that interaction, let's say. So one thing that I try to always do is if there's a Penny in the game is I try to incentivize my team. Hey, can we please destroy these nests? Hey, can we destroy these nests? That'd be awesome. And that's kind of like what my game plan really like facilitates around. So as you can see, like on the Spider Island map, we're just pushing the cart. We just have insane momentum, and I'm just continuing to keep the pressure Always being aware of where the enemy Hulk is, always trying to dive in. If he's using ult, making sure that I'm not cycling my ult into his and wasting time, making sure that I'm always jumping up at the Iron Man, pulling him out of the air, and just trying to be a nuisance for the enemy team. You always just want to be aware that your character has a lot more options than other characters. Like, try to be creative if you're playing Hulk. You know, like, you can jump around and be a frontline tank. You can be a basic tank for like where you're just staying near supports, you're not jumping in. You can do those things. But if you try to get creative and become kind of like a mixture of like a DPS and a tank, you provide so much pressure that the enemy team doesn't have breathing room. They don't have time to sit there and have a thoughtful discussion on what they can do. What's the next game plan? How do we counter the Hulk? Especially if your characters on your team are either dive, you're just going to completely destroy the enemy. And some of these characters in this game, you're probably wondering like, oh, like, how do you play Hulk against Groot? And it's just being aware of the matchups. Like, if you're against a Groot, you sometimes have to just jump over his walls. Sometimes you don't go into the walls around. And another thing, I didn't get to do it in this game because the Jeff was just destroying me. This enemy Jeff was quite good. It was quite impressive, actually. But they were really good with their ultimates on just grabbing us on crucial cooldowns. A lot of times what you want to do with Hulk is you want to use your transformations to be like an animation cancel because they actually give you invulnerability frames. You can also bubble, and Jeff's ult, if the bubble's not broken, will not even touch you. You'll just completely dodge it. You can actually completely cover your whole team with just one Hulk bubble, but then you're asking your team to group up and clump on one location, which is not going to be a good thing. So that's pretty much everything that I have to mention here in this Hulk guide. I will leave links for my Discord, for my Twitch down below. If there's any questions that anyone has, please leave it in the comments below. And if this video was at all helpful to you, please leave a like, a comment. Let me know that you appreciated it, and I will do my best to make more content for this. If there's anything else that you would like rival content-wise, please let me know. I'm going to try my very best to get to the top 500, and then once I get there, I want to make a tier list of some sort. I just don't feel like I'm at the current rank to make a actual correct tier list. So I want to make sure that I have more time on the game, more time spent with other heroes, and make sure that I'm aware of actually what's going on in the game at the high level. And since I've played at the lower ranks, being able to facilitate and say which characters are good at each rank, that would be awesome. So look forward to some tier lists or anything in the future, and try to be better than me at dodging these Jeff ults, because all I'm seeing in this gameplay is me just eating Jeff ults. Y'all take care of yourself. Have a great one. Peace.